How's everyone doing? I'm Dusty. I had Tony with me today. Man, it feels like this summer's just flown by and we haven't really pumped too much stuff out, and it's already preseason.
It's already preseason, but it's going to kick up here soon. I mean, to your point, man, like summer's basically almost over. It's a downward spiral all the way to football season. So I'm ready to go.
Dude, I know I love summer. Like, don't get me wrong, I love summer. There's something about the nice weather, being outside, and kind of the older I've gotten, the more it's like it's nice. Like, I've always liked the fall and the winter time for deer hunting
Mhm.
and obviously football, but there's something about summer I'm just really starting to enjoy, that just the nice weather, mowing, you know what it's like being a dad, being outside doing a little lawn work. Summertime's nice.
Yeah.
So to wish it goodbye is kind of a sad thing for me, because I like to make the most out of my days anymore. That's kind of what I've been trying to do, is make the most out of every day and not take days for granted. That's just their own like personal thing. So hoping for like certain seasons and stuff to go by quick has really been a difference maker for me. But how's your summer been, man?
It's been good, man. I mean, to your point, like yard work and getting out. I enjoy the hot weather, right? Like I'm a hot weather person. I personally hate the cold. I hate the winter. I love the fall, but like I hate the cold weather, right? So it's bittersweet, but I'm kind of in that weird phase, kind of like you said, right? So I don't want to wish summer away. I really appreciate it, like all this hot weather. We actually have had some pretty good weather lately, but just getting to the fall and getting to football season, it's almost worth it to me because less than 3 weeks from now, we're going to be full on into the NFL, into college football, like, and you'll forget all about summer before you know it.
Yeah, dude. I found this new app. So I was away, as you know, doing a little fun army training and whatnot, and somebody reintroduced me to, remember the Land Nav app that we used to
Yeah,
have, kind of the little
yeah.
cheater app. So I forgot all about this thing, and I pulled it back up. It's like a dollar something, but you can mark your waypoints and different things. So when we go hunting this year, instead of doing Onyx, because I know where I'm hunting at. For the most part, I know it's either public, or if it's private, like I know where I can hunt at. The only benefit to Onyx is just knowing your property lines and who to contact.
Mhm.
But dude, I'm gonna pull that thing up and I'm gonna apply some points. So whenever you want to go out and scout a little bit, I got a couple spots that I'm wanting to hit up, and we'll mark them bad boys on there. And then I'm sure I'll get on X again. I always just cancel it in the off season because I think it's like $49 a month or something.
The
So
good one is, yeah, just let me know. I've got this slick Apple Watch now. I want to test the waypoint and like the nav on it. Like when we were in public a few years ago, how we didn't like set our pin and then we were kind of lost trying to get back to the truck. Like I want to set my pin, go off into the woods, get lost, and trust the fact that my GPS is going to kind of get me back. I want to try that out, even though it sounds kind of like crazy. Um, I mean, both of us are more experienced hunters than we were back then. Now I went to Montana and Idaho and really backpacked with nothing but a GPS. So I've got that under my belt now, and I feel a lot more confident. But yeah, we'll definitely do that, man. Like that cold weather, it just sucks. Like like with all this, all the green trees and all the hot weather, like that's not good hunting weather. Like you want to get out there when the leaves are down, when it's cold out, that early November. It's almost like too cold to be out there, but you want to be out there as long as you can, right?
yeah. Do you have a climber?
I don't. I was thinking about getting one, but I'm actually redoing my stand right now at one of the properties that I'm able to hunt at. I didn't. I didn't go out as much as I should have last year. I passed on a deer, believe it or not, hoping
Mhm.
that he would grow. And my luck, some person probably shot him, but I passed on a buck last year just to hope that he would grow. So
Yeah. I've been passing on quite a few, but I have some neighbors that ain't too stingy about what they take. So they'll
no,
grip
it's
it
the same
anything.
way over there, man. They'll freaking line up and just like drive deer and it sucks because like you need to get in while the getting's good because once Thanksgiving rolls around, like they just shoot whatever they see. And it sucks because like that's not the way that I was raised to hunt. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody, like if you're listening out there and you think like that's cool, like by all means, like you can shoot whatever you want. It's your food, it's your kill. Like For me personally, though, I'm kind of selective just because I'm blessed to be able to be selective, right? And I want to see these deer grow and um, really become real like cool deer for other people or myself to shoot one day.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we got a nice little bit of land that we can hunt on and stuff. So that makes it nice, and definitely blessed with the public land that's around here. Now,
Yeah,
if I was, I I don't mind drives like late season drives, but I like the
mhm.
hunt. You know what I mean? I like sitting there during rut, get some grunts in, like rattle a little bit, like see what comes through, and it's fun. I don't care if it's a little 6 point, and this dude's coming in sniffing, acting all hot and heavy, and it's like, dude, I
Yeah,
rattled that dude in like that. That's cool. Like gave a couple grunts, and my wind was right.
that
There's so
crunch,
much that goes
crunch. Yeah,
yeah, there's so much that goes into like hunting. Now there's a lot of luck. There's some people that get really really lucky and they can
there's tons of luck.
yeah, you can do it. I've hunted for years. And the biggest deer I ever shot was when I'm sure I told you the story before with Rage, them the broadheads, and my father-in-law
Never
I was
again.
getting ready to go hunt, man. And I had these ram cats I loved. I don't even know if they make them anymore because I haven't seen them. I've looked them up to order them a couple years ago, and I might have. I still have a couple left, so I know that because when I moved, I got all my hunting stuff and kind of gathered it up. But the that rage, man, I hit it just a little too high in the shoulder. He gave me a real bad angle, and he was in with a doe and getting ready to move out. So as he was moving out, he gave me a better shot, but there was some brush, and I was in a tree stand, so I'm trying to like maneuver away from it. And when I did, I felt really good about the shot. But I just hit a little further up than I wanted and caught that shoulder blade, and there was a little bit of blood, and we tracked him for hours trying to find him, and never got him. But he would have been the biggest buck killed on that property in
Mhm.
no. But the thing was, I think he ended up dying. The reason I think he died is because you know how everybody talks when they get a nice buck, the whole community knows about it. So not a single
Yep.
person talked about this buck, and there's this mesh bottom that's real thick, and the people that own that land they go there like during hunting season, but they don't live local. So I think that deer went down that bottom and probably died in some meshy land, and I think coyotes probably got to him. So there's probably a nice shed down there that somebody's going to find one day and think, "What a nice buck that was," but couldn't track him. We ended up losing the track, and like I said, he was heading towards that bottom, which would have probably been about a mile away. In just we at that point didn't think he was going to die. Kind of like
Yep.
there was no good blood in him, so or in what we were seeing. So unfortunate.
Yep.
Hopefully he survived, and maybe he probably got pretty smart. You don't get that big without being smart. So he was probably a smart buck, and was just I don't know, but I haven't seen him on trail cams. Nobody else seen him on trail cams, and I know nobody shot that buck. So I
Yeah.
would prefer he survived, but it is what it is, man. I'm getting deep.
Is what it
That
is.
hurt my soul. That was about 6, 7 years ago, and I'll never forget that buck, man. Beautiful buck. But
Hey,
yeah.
what's let's shift gears if you don't mind. Training camp. What are your thoughts so far?
So I think Cam Sample's injury is pretty unfortunate with already a beat up, may not beat up off or defensive line, but that D line wasn't strong last year with a DJ Reader, and then you kind of lose a dude that was pretty versatile. That wasn't ideal. Then the third round draft pick, what's his name, Jackson, McKinley Jackson, he gets hurt.
Mhm.
So then I seen that Gunther, he got hurt. Now he's retiring. So the
Yep.
Bengals, I think, are going to have to make some moves on that D line, and that was our weakness last year. So now even more hard up D line is not ideal. And I really don't want to see Trey and Sam and Miles Murphy, Joseph Osai, like those four guys, and those are all pass rushers for the most part. Sam and Miles, I think they can both play a little more on the run game, like we all know that. But still, it's a little, it's concerning to me. Our offense can be good, they can be great, but if you can't stop teams when it matters, we know that's what wins championships. Like, what was the score in the Super Bowl, the AFC North Championship game? Both those games were like 21, 23 points, right?
Yep.
Against
Yeah, and
really good
both
offense.
times, I mean, it comes down to a couple drives, right, or a turnover. Now, I'll pose this question to you. I've heard some pretty negative things around the league from this guy. They kicked the tires on him a few months back. Do you think they bring in a Tear Tart for a workout to see if maybe that's a fit? The Dolphins cut him after 3 weeks.
Dude, they got to, right? Like, maybe it's not Tart, but like it's got to be somebody.
There's not a lot out there.
Yeah, we've got to we got to have bodies to make it through the preseason. Like, we're talking preseason. This ain't regular season. Like, we need some bodies in there. I think the Bengals, they got the money. Like, what I think I would have liked to seen them do was definitely signed Tart earlier in the year. That would have been nice. And the Dave Lapham said it, and he said it multiple times. You're not going to go far without trenches. That games are won in trenches. And what's the Bengals' biggest problem been through pretty much all the years of Joe Burrow has been our trenches. Now, defensive line has been, when healthy, pretty good. But it just takes literally what's going to happen if Trey misses 3 games? Like, God forbid that happens. Like, it's going to be rough if Trey misses a couple games, Sam misses some games, BJ Hill, we got him on the cheap on trade. You know what I mean? Like, we need to invest in our trenches, I think, a little more. I think they've gotten a little too comfortable with not doing that, with just Joe make something happen. And that just seems to be what's gone on. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you there, and I think we talked about this on a few podcasts back. I think, and again, I can't speak for everybody, but at least my personal opinion is that I think the Bengals are getting a little bit too comfortable with what happened in 21 and 22, and think that that's just going to instantly translate to 23, 24, and beyond. The reality is they're dragging their feet, right? Guys like Reeder, Bates, they're gone. Guys like Chase aren't at practice. Guys like T, you might get one more year out of them because you drug your feet on it. Joe's coming off an injury. Sam Hubbard's coming off an injury. You've got Trey Hendrickson. Now, again, not trying to be a pessimist here, but you got Trey Hendrickson saying, hey, I've outplayed the deal that I currently have. And the Bengals are saying, tough luck. This is what you signed. They're in a really bad position to where it might be that last hurrah, but I don't feel that this front office is equipped to go through a full rebuild. They got really lucky with some of the picks that they've had over the years in the draft to help kind of stabilize pieces into their roster, and then they plug and play some cheap guys here and there. I think we're at a point now where the league's kind of caught up to that, right? The league's caught up to the Bengals, the league's caught up to Joe Burrow, the league's caught up to Jamar Chase, and they have to keep differentiating themselves. How do they do that? Well, like I said earlier, they're a little bit too late on T. Higgins. They're going to have to pay Jamar Chase now. But to your point, games are won in the trenches. I think the pendulum swung a little bit now where we feel we're a little bit stronger is on the offensive line. I think depth is still obviously a huge issue. I think I feel better about defensive end than I did last year. Just seeing some of the flashes in training camp from Osai and Murphy, I think they're going to take a step. And if nothing else, they're a guy that you can plug in on second down when a guy needs a break or third down when a guy needs a break. And we're not having to use Sam Hubbard to pass rush when we know that guy's a run stop, right? But there is a depth issue. I think they're sitting at 20 some right now. They're kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I think they really need to make some hard decisions here. And it doesn't mean that your savior, Joe Burrow, is going to fix everything. We know that that's not true. Joe's
Mhm.
amazing. When he's healthy, he's one of the best in the league, but the injury history is still there. And when he's not there, this team is a complete shell of what it was the year prior. So I think there's a lot of work to be done. Bright spots, certainly, but I think there's a lot of work to be done. It's not going to be the same season as 21 and 22. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I agree with you because
Yeah.
injuries happen. It's
Yep.
the NFL, it's football, injuries happen. And it's, I mean, it's unfortunate. I think the Bengals starting team looks great. If you put the starting lineup against any team right now, I feel really good about our odds. But our second team in third, like down the line, like I don't like it. Like I don't feel good. Like I don't like being that guy. Like you, I feel for the most part when we talk about like upside, and we're realists. Like we'll talk about things that concern us. And there's a lot of Bengals fans that'll be like, oh, if you don't like the team, then just watch another team. Well, when the team has options and they have things to fill, you want to see them like we're in this window right now. We want to see them make every move possible to get out there and win a Super Bowl. Like Super Bowls don't come around, every year. It's been, it's been a while since the Bengals were relevant. The 90s were rough. That was when we grew up. And then the early 2000s we got a little glimmer of hope. And then, the Andy Dalton era where we made a little push but we never got over the hump. Like right now is kind of it's just the time, man. Like it why not? Like I know I've beat the T Higgins thing just into the ground 6 foot deep at this point. But like last year, it'd been great to sign T. It'd been great to get that done, get that out of the way, and then Jamar this year. Like just get it done. Like I don't understand I really don't understand the wait. Like Jamar's going to be here. If T's not here and Jamar's not here, that's people are going to lose their minds. Like it's going to happen. Like everybody knows the Jamar deal will be done. So why not just get it done? So he can be at training camp, he can feel comfortable, he can play. What was the point of not signing T if you're going to kick Jamar's contract down the road and it's just going to get more expensive? I really don't
It's
understand what the outlook is. Make him the highest paid by a lot. Like I don't care. Give him, an extra 10 million guaranteed than what you feel comfortable with. You're going to next year that 10 million is going to be, what you're going to pay regardless. So just
yeah.
do it. Just get it. It just infuriates me that he's not out there. It doesn't infuriate me that he's not practicing because he doesn't care about the team. It's the team. It's the office not getting it done. Like
Mhm.
Jesse Bates. We draft Jesse. He becomes a dude that should probably, I don't know if he ever got an all pro, but he should have been an all pro. He was, a top 3 safety in the league. He was a big reason we made the push that we did. Now, Jesse did have like his ups and downs. Like, the first 8 weeks of a season, who knows what kind of Jesse you're going to get. And then that second 8 weeks, it's like, man, this guy is the best safety in the league. T. Higgins has outproduced what I think a lot of people thought he was going to be. I mean, I wasn't super high on T. I like T, but I didn't think he was going to be what he is. I like Michael Pittman
Sure.
more, to be honest. I wanted Michael Pittman, and we got T, and I was
You
kind of
said
like,
that.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
like whatever. But the Pittman deal isn't that bad. It's 75 million when he signed. I think it's 75 million for 3 years. I don't know what the guarantees. Let's just say
The
50 million.
AAV is about 24 or something. And it all goes back to the guarantees with Cincinnati. I know that's what it is. I know that's
Yeah,
what's hanging them up. But we talked about this a little bit earlier. The reason they're not signing Tamar Chase is because then they show their cards versus T. I think secretly in that front office, they're holding out hope that they can sign T. Higgins to a second franchise tag next year and then let him walk. But the problem with that train of thought is irregardless, you're going to be on the hook for 2 top tier wide receivers come next year. And, again, I can't speak to everything the Miami Dolphins have done, but all the people in the league that talk about how you can't pay 2 top receivers, Miami just proved them otherwise. Philadelphia
Philly,
just proved them.
Philly.
Philly just proved them otherwise. There's multiple teams in the league that are doing this right now and still maintaining a roster that's both competitive and wins games, right? And gets to the playoffs and makes some noise. Now, Dolphins obviously dropped off a little bit in the freezer bowl last year in KC, but this notion that you can't pay two receivers, I think, is completely wrong. And so when people were telling me that I was wrong 6 months ago when I said the same thing, I said, guys, you can pay both receivers.
Yeah.
It's a matter of how you do the math. All the successful teams in the league, Green Bay, maybe not Dallas anymore, but Green Bay, KC, all these teams do it. They mess around with money year after year after year, whereas Cincinnati, they'll sign a guy and then they're like, well, that's the cap hit, and they don't mess with the money the rest of his deal. They let him play out his deal. You got to do accounting every single year, move the money around, signing bonuses, conversions, kicking the can. But what they're doing is really simple mathematics, and the league is just outpacing them in that regard. I think it's a testament to how small and inexperienced their front office is. Now, I think some of those guys are super talented, right? Like, I can't do that job, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say I could, but there's a big difference between we're going to sign this guy, we're going to fall within the cap and be done with it, versus every single year we're going to do a top to bottom evaluation, convert what we can, get as much money as we can out of this roster to be able to sign these big guys. They're just not doing it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, go do these crazy deals, but what did Mekhi Becton get? Like, basically the same as Trent Brown, right? Like, it was around $4 million. What's $4 million to solidify Joe Burrow, who was next to Jordan Love now, the highest paid quarterback in the league? Who cares?
Yeah.
$4 million, bro. Put the $4 million down. Get a guy like Becton. Get Dalton Risner. Like, bring Dalton Risner in, and just competition breeds excellence. That is a fact. My basketball coach and baseball coaches always would say that. Like, it's a very cliche, corny thing to say, but it's true. Like, the better you are, the better I become, and the better I become, the more I push you. It's the same throughout any organization, regardless if it's football, if it's in the military, whatever it is. The better you work as a unit and the better competition you bring in, the better you'll be overall. And
dude, why do you think Ohio State football is so good right now? And why in this offseason they brought in so many people, and people are like, why are you bringing on that guy? We already have one. It's because you want to bring in the very best to push the guys that you have and bring out the very best and put the best 11 on the field. To your point, Cincinnati's got a great starting 22, but after those 22 players, where does it go? There's a lot of holes.
Yeah, that's what's concerning, man. Because like next year, I mean, we know the Jamar deal is going to get done. If they go and they don't sign Jesse Bates and they don't sign T, and then they don't sign Jamar, like people are going to be like, what is going on? You know the Jamar deal is going to get done. Just do it. Just get it done, get it out of the way, forget about it, and let's move forward. But
the difference between Geno Stone and Jesse Bates right now is $5 million a year.
Yeah.
And Jesse Bates is the number one safety in the NFL right now, all pro.
And he's homegrown. He's
$5 million. And if you guys didn't kick the can, you guys could have had an all pro, all franchise player for $5 million more.
Yep. And okay, I get Von Bell's being paid pretty much by Carolina, right? But why not? Hell, bring both of them. You could have made it work where we had a Geno Stone and a Jesse Bates, and then now everyone loves Jordan Battle. Jordan Battle looks like he could be the future. He's great. You don't think now? I don't have it in front of me, but what kind of interior O linemen were available at that point last year? Like, you got to spend money, man. My grandpa always said you got to spend money to make money. And it's how you flip that money. Now, you don't think the Bengals stock rose a shit ton like when they won these playoff games, when they started making this push, like they're making money, bro. Like, I know the NFL and everything's tied together, but I know that's ticket sales, but outside of that, like, there's other revenue that's being brought in, and they just I don't know. Like, I really don't get it, and it frustrates me. I wish that's what we need to do. We need to find somebody that understands these numbers real good and bring them in, because it doesn't make sense to me, because I know there's money. The Bengals have money right now. There's money sitting in there.
They've always sat on a cap number, like well under the cap every year.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, we've both followed this team for years. I notoriously, I think we all say that they've kind of changed in regards, and they're making a turn for the better. Historically, they've been a very cheap franchise, and I still think, man, like deep down, not to get too down. I think we need to talk about some of the positives, but not to get too down on it. But like the new field, the upgrades to the stadium, the new unis, whatever you might want to call it. I think that's all low hanging fruit, in my opinion, to the bigger, broader issue at hand. The stadium is in the bottom third of the league. They're sitting under the cap. They've got multiple people to pay. I just think they're dragging their feet in the name of saving money. Let's just say it what it is. Love the team. I can't wait for the season. We're all going to forget about all that as soon as the season starts. We're going to forget about all this stuff, right? And on week one, Jamar Chase is going to be there. T. Higgins is going to be there. Every one of them are going to be there, whether it's this year or next year, whatever. They're all going to be there. We're going to forget about it. But the glaring issues with this franchise, and then obviously the growing issues with their relationship with Hamilton County, they're going to have to step up. And it comes down to Mike Brown stepping up and saying, hey, I'm going to pay for the bulk of this. I'm going to take on the majority of this signing bonus. That's what successful owners in this league has done. And that's why certain teams year after year are just really good, because they have an owner that just fronts all the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do want to get on to the positive stuff, but right now, man, it's just the season's ahead of us, and I feel like a lot of fans aren't too concerned. And I don't know if it's just because Joe Burrow's back, T's looking good.
Well, I mean, you could say that, but at the end of the day, like, we still don't know how good Joe Burrow is going to be this year. He's coming off a season-ending wrist injury. T. Higgins is in the final year of what is probably going to be his tenure, and you've got Jamar Chase sitting out, well, officially sitting out, not even just sitting in, sitting out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a lot more to be concerned about than people were talking about. And then if you go back, Orlando Brown wouldn't be on this team if his agent didn't reach out. Like that part blows my mind that we let Jesse Bates walk. And then on top of it, if Orlando Brown didn't reach out with, a deal that we all thought was really cheap, which was like $16 million a year, I think, he wouldn't be on this roster. He wouldn't be on this team. Like the team we had to do something to the offensive line. It was so bad.
Can you imagine where we would be at left tackle if he wasn't on this team?
Probably Jonah, but they would probably still be paying Jonah $14 million or something. Like, I don't know what Jonah got. Like Jonah would probably be the same price tag. Like it blows my mind. And the season hasn't even started, but I'm just so frustrated because I want to see them just really assert themselves and be like, nope, we're making this push. Like, dude, locker rooms are great. It's super cool to have, a great facility and all these things. But like, man, what did LA do? They went and it looked like they paid out and it was like, hey, we're winning the Super Bowl this year. Guess what? They got a Super Bowl. That's pretty freaking sweet. Like, dude, that's awesome. And they still have a good roster. Like, they still have a pretty good team. Last year, they were competitive. This year, like,
almost
they still
beat us.
And they got Puka. Like, they have, and they got their quarterback. Matt Stafford is, year in and year out since he's been in the leagues, probably a top 7 quarterback. I think that's and that's being generous. I think he's probably higher than that on most people's boards. Like, and their defense has always been pretty sound. They had Ramsey, and Ramsey was expensive. They had Aaron Donald. Like, look at the Chiefs too. The Chiefs got Patrick Mahomes. They had Tyreek Hill. They had Travis Kelce, and then they had the lineman Jones. I'm forgetting his name. You know what I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. Chris Jones. Yeah.
Chris Jones. So like, the money's there. Maneuver it the way you want. Make it work. Like, when you have top end talent, you're gonna pay top end money. It is what it is, and every team has top tier players that they're paying top tier money to. It's just it is what it is. But
I agree.
Yeah, we can get off this horse. We're going to beat it to the ground because I'm feeling a little frustrated about just. I get
it, man. We all want a Super Bowl. We like that's the end of it. We will forget about all this if they win a Super Bowl, right?
Oh yeah.
Like we've all lived our entire life without seeing the Bengals win a Super Bowl. We've seen it come down to the last drive, and to me, right? Being an Ohio State fan, like obviously they've had a lot of success, but I'm used to Ohio State getting down to the last drive, last quarter, and losing a game. So seeing Cincinnati doing that, like my heart's already broken, right? But like I want to see it before we all die, and I think we're all going to
Right.
forget about this if they put it together and win a Super Bowl. It's going to take more than what they got right now. Now, on a positive note, right? Rookies that flashed. Who's a guy you like so far?
Okay. I'll let you talk about the rookies real quick. I'm
Okay.
gonna go let my dog out real quick.
Well, I can. Hey, listen, I can wait for you, but before you go let your dog out, I was right about Jermaine Burton, and I'm going to toot my horn on that. I told you,
Dude,
I told every single one of you guys on the stream, on our live stream. I said it on Twitter. I said Jermaine Burton's going to be special, and what does he do? He had the 2 longest plays in that game and a tutty
yeah. Jermaine's
against
a
third
dog.
strings, but
Still, the competition you're against, the competition you're against. Like, make the most of it, and he did.
yeah,
He did.
yeah.
Toot that horn, brother.
yeah. Well, I'm going to solo this show for a little bit until Dusty gets back. So rookies that have flashed. So I really like Jermaine Burton right now. And I know I've kind of beat that horse a little bit dead. I think Jermaine Burton's going to be an impact player. Is he a plug and play day one for Tyler Boyd? I'm not totally sure. I think that's left to be seen. I still see it as Yoshi Bosch's job as wide receiver 3 to lose. Okay. Obviously, on the offensive side, Amarius Mims, albeit with an injury right now, I think he should be back by week 2, if I were to guess. I'm not a doctor, but I think week 2 is probably that the appropriate time. I think Amarius Mims is going to be a really good pick if he stays healthy. He's shown again in training camp and in practice, and then in the game a little bit, that he can be the next big thing at right tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. Something that I think we've lacked for a number of years. Even though we've had guys like Jonah Williams come through, I think we've certainly lacked in that area, right? Some other guys I really like, Josh Newton. I think he's flashed. Certainly, he's one of the top 10 rookies. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. We're talking about Josh Newton now. We're talking about a little bit of CB right now. So I was saying my top 2 rookies right now, obviously Mims and Jermaine Burton, but talk about a guy like Newton, who's a top 10 rated rookie in the league right now, coming off of game 1.
Dude, he's a guy I wasn't super high on just because the year that he came out. Now, the year before, he had great numbers. He looked really good. So it was kind of, was it a down year? Like, what was it? Was it a scheme? Like, I don't know what changed. I don't follow TCU. He was at TCU, right? I believe it's TCU.
Yeah. He's a really athletic guy at a TCU.
Yeah. So, I wasn't super high because I was high on TJ Tampa. Like, I talked about TJ Tampa probably more than anybody in the draft. Dude, I love TJ Tampa. And he kept falling and falling and falling. And I don't know what the dude's doing right now. I mean, I really don't care at this point, but like, I liked him a lot. So I remember he went, I don't know, maybe 20 picks or so in front of Newton. So I was
he
kind
was
of like,
there for the taking, though.
Yeah, I was kind of like, man, if you're going to take somebody, I wish they would have took him because it wasn't just me. A lot of people had, second, third round grade on the dude. But I'm not an NFL scout. I don't know. Like, as long as Fig does good, that's great. And he's impressed. It seems like every day in training camp, you're hearing something about him. Like, I think it was today or yesterday. Cam Taylor-Britt was talking about him, said like he reminds him of him when he came out. Like, he's hungry, he's asking questions, he's wanting to learn. This dude, in the Bengals, they never, like, you always need 4 to 5 decent corners. Like, the injuries happen at that position. You need people to jump in, fill in. He's going to get playing time, and I really like where he's at. And Amarius Mims, man, when he played, like, everything seemed good. I couldn't even believe he got hurt because he looked, he looked good. He had a post-game interview and he seemed fine. And then you find out that he's hurt. So maybe, it was one of those things, adrenaline's going, he's playing, then he feels something that feels strained and gets it checked out and realizes, it's a little more severe than what he thought.
Well, I
But
think
still,
I was talking about it a little bit when you were gone. Zach Taylor did not rule him out for week 1. I think week 2 is probably more realistic for a guy like that when we come into KC.
but did you think he was going to start? Because honestly, I didn't think he was going to start. Like week 1, didn't think Mims was going to be a starter. I thought Trent Brown was going to start at least the first four weeks. Now you never want to see an injury because that sets him back. Like he's not getting the reps, but at least he got the reps up to this point, and he got that week 1 with the starters, and he played through that game. Like that was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
does
I
have
think
that
Trent
experience.
Brown is gonna play more. And if I were to take out my crystal ball, I think Trent Brown will start over Mims for a while. But I don't think they're gonna be hesitant to plug Mims in when Trent Brown needs a break. He's an old guy, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, me personally, I thought Trent Brown would start at least the first 4 weeks and just get Mims kind of in the swing of things through preseason, get him like feeling comfortable, and then see how Trent was playing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Trent's got a little bit of injury problems and stuff. He's a little older. So I think a lot of people thought like if he gives us, 6, 8 solid weeks and something comes up and Mims needs plugged in, Mims is going to finish the season and we're going to feel comfortable. I think I felt a lot better after this game where Mims was like watching him. And I was really excited to watch that growth continue. So that injury is not, it's not ideal, but there's a lot of promise there. If the guy can stay healthy and he can get himself right, I think there's a lot of promise. And I think like sometimes,
Mhm.
a little setback, a little injury right now, it's early in the year. Like it's not a tear, thankfully. It's a strain. It's going to be, as Zach said, several weeks, but it'll be it's
Famous
not
line.
it's not a season ending injury.
No, it's not, thankfully. I still think that, to your point, they need some depth there, but when the lights come on and they're playing a big team like the Browns, the Steelers, the Chiefs that have a very stout pass rush and they start moving the defensive ends and the defensive tackles around, I think that's where you're going to see a guy like Mims make or break, right? In a preseason game versus mixed guys, there was a lot of positives to take out of that. And a lot of college guys will come out and they'll say, hey, the speed of the game doesn't really change a whole lot when you come to the NFL. But the biggest difference is they bring it every single play in the NFL versus college. You can take a play off here and there, right? They bring it every play. So that's going to be the big differentiator. Can a guy like Trent Brown keep up with that at his age, with his injury history? Or is Mims going to take over as the guy? I don't think Cincinnati's going to entrust him quite yet with that, but they're gonna plug him in here and there as Trent Brown needs a break, or as guys might get hurt and see how he plays. And a good opportunity to do that is week 1, hopefully, versus the Patriots, or week 3 or week 4 versus Carolina. Like those are really good games where you want to get him out there and see what he can do.
Yeah, week 4 is Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots got a good defense. They're always known for their defense. They're going to have a good defense. So
Minus Judon
yeah,
now. Judon's gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where?
The Falcons. Falcons just traded for him.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So guess who's got a really good defense now? The
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. Dude, the Falcons, they're low key they're kind of nice. I kind of like the Falcons.
They've been quiet.
Yeah. I like the Lions too. Like last year, I remember thinking I was like, the Lions kind of remind me of the Bengals of 21. Like
They
I should
do.
have put some
They
money
do.
down on it and put some money down because it seemed like just the picks and everything they had was kind of lining up. Other than Jared Goff, like Jared Goff was kind of that like, what's Goff going to do? But they brought Gibbs in, and if Gibbs stays healthy, dude, who's the dude for the Saints?
Kamara.
Kamara, whatever. Like he just got that explosive. Like he could be, in my opinion, maybe that next like Kamara, Alex Eckler. Like probably better than that. Like I like Gibbs a lot, and they took him high. Like a lot of people thought he was a second round. Like I remember people thinking like the Bengals might get him in the second, and like they're like, no, this is our dude. We're getting him. Like I like that team. I think they're going to be that would be my like Super Bowl. Like I would be happy with watching that as a Super Bowl. Like Bengals versus Lions. That'd be fun.
Lions are scary, man. Even Mike Tirico came out when they won that first playoff game last year and said the same thing. And after, what was it, 33 years for them or something, the Lions finally won a playoff game. And it was like a spitting image, right? Dudes crying in the stands, people going nuts. Everyone showed up and show out. Like, dude, it was a spitting image of 21, to your point, of Cincinnati. And they have that appeal. They're the darling of the NFL now. Cincinnati's not. If it wasn't for Joe Burrow, Cincinnati would not be the darling of the NFL anymore.
Yeah. And really, it's not like Joe's getting a lot of love, man. With his injury and stuff, like, I think the real ones know, like, when you listen to, like, some people that aren't, like, biased, like, ex-NFL players that are, like, biased for, like, the Ravens or the Steelers, then you're getting, like, no, don't forget about Joe Burrow. Like, Joe Burrow's, he's that dude. But, like, they're about to prove themselves. And they have – now, last year – they had one of the toughest schedules. Like, I forget what the stat was I read. It might have been like Warren Sharp or somebody posted this, but they had played I believe it was 14 playoff teams in 14 teams that were above 500. Now I'm probably getting the stat weird, but like I believe it was Warren Sharp that had it posted out there. And they had a very tough schedule. Like it was not, some easy schedule they had. This year they have, I think, the 6th toughest schedule, but once you go through the season, like that's going to change. That could slide up to the 10th easiest, or it could be, the middle of the pack. Like we don't know right now. From the outlook of last year and this year, like it looks like a pretty easy, like decent schedule, a lot better than last year's at least. So their numbers they need to play, and they need to start fast. Like the Patriots, that has to be a win. We have to get that win. Kansas City, like what do you think about that? Like I forget who we play week 3. I know week 4 is Carolina. I know it goes the Patriots, Kansas City. I forget who week 3 is, and then it's Carolina. But that Carolina one, if we could get all the way to Carolina and win that and be 4-0, or at least 3-1, I still think
they play the Commies week 3, Panthers week 4. Yeah, like so they have a really good shot of being 3-1, ideally 4-0.
Yeah, because that's the Ring of Honor game against Washington. But I think 4-1 or 3-1 has to be the goal. Like through the first quarter of the season, set that tone.
4-0 needs to be the goal, but if they really want to be taken seriously, they're going to go beat KC at KC like the Lions did week 1 last year. That's how everyone was like, okay, this team is for real. Like it instantly put them on the map for the rest of the season. I hesitate because again, like all the pieces need to come together for them to beat KC. It's the same KC every year we see. It's the same Patrick Mahomes. They're gonna play every game and get a bunch of tic-tacky plays and get a bunch of weird calls and play that game out through 4 quarters. But if you want to be taken seriously, like you need to start 4-0, period.
Yeah. And you got to start fast because injuries will build. What we talked about earlier on the show is that, I don't want to speak for you, but for me, and I think we're on the same boat with, like, our depth isn't as good as we'd like it to be. So we need to start fast before them injuries start piling. And then when they do, hopefully it comes at like a good time, around the bye, around, the middle of the season where guys can get healthy again. And then we can make that playoff push. It's how starting the season strong and ending strong. Like that middle it's nice to be good. Like I think Marvin Lewis was like, I think through like October and December, he normally had like 6 wins in that time frame. I forget what it was, but like Marvin was always like that middle of the pack. Like he'd start coming along, things would go good for him. But the end of the year would come and, make it to the playoffs and injuries would pile up. Like how I think when we played the Colts, I think we had one starting receiver. It might have been Marvin Jones. Like that was it. Like AJ was out, Sanu was out. Like there wasn't a lot there. So just getting the guys healthy, being healthy at the end of the year is what I'm most scared about, because I just don't like our depth at all. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's a race to 10 wins. 10 wins gets a wild card. 11 wins gets a playoff spot. 12 wins the AFC North, in my opinion. Right. And if you want to win the AFC, it's 14 wins. Like, that's what you're looking at right now. It's a race to 10 wins to get to the playoffs. It's a race to 11 to secure a spot in the playoffs regardless. And it's a race to 12 to win the AFC North. I think the Ravens are an easy 10-win team. I think the Browns are an easy 10-win team. It's going to take 12 to win the AFC North, 10 to get into the playoffs. So, and 10 is barely making a wild card, right? In this AFC. So, yeah, it's just you want to stack those wins early. The problem they found themselves in year after year is they start slow, 1-3, 1-4, 1-2, whatever it might be, one stupid records, right? And then they've got to claw their way out and then become relevant again. All the pundits are like, "Whoa, they're coming back around. Watch out for Cincinnati." Like, you don't want to be in that situation. Start fast, get the wins that you should win, and then be competitive in the games. You might be able to drop a game versus the Cleveland Browns or maybe at Pittsburgh, right? You're able to do that, but the year that they're able to go to the AFC Championship game, they play these teams and they beat them, right?
mm-hmm.
They go to Pittsburgh, they take care of business. They go to Baltimore, they take care of business. They go to Cleveland, and Joe needs to take care of business versus Cleveland. Like I'm sick of losing to Cleveland when you have all the tools to be able to beat them, right? Like, you just get out schemed every single time you play them. So I don't think there's any excuse for it anymore. Start fast, get to 3-1 at least, or 4-0 to be taken seriously, and get to 12 wins and win the AFC North.
You remember what we was? I think we were 4-2 in 21 in the AFC North. I think we were 4-2.
Yeah, we lost to the Browns once, and we lost to we swept the Steelers, and
Were we
swept.
5? Were we 5-1?
We swept the Ravens. We swept the Steelers, and we beat the Browns once, and then they beat us in the garbage game, I believe.
Right. Yeah. So we were 5-1. So that shows what the AFC North, like, you just got to win them games, man. And do you remember when Harbaugh got all mad? He got all pissy pants around when Joe put up 525 on him. Remember that? We were beating them pretty good.
Yeah. It was at Baltimore. Yeah, they scored like 40 some points that game. Yeah, but like, dude, honestly, no one cares.
Yeah, dude, that was great. That was probably one of my favorite things, because I was like, okay, get Jamar and get Joe, get the guys out there. And then Jamar's like streaking down the sideline. I think it might have been Mixon that kind of finished it off with like this wheel route. But I love that game, man. There was something about, I was like, okay, this team is like, they're just handing it to them. Like, when we beat Baltimore, I think it was the second game. I know it was in Baltimore, and Harbaugh was all mad, and I loved it.
That's how you knew they were legit that year, when they beat Baltimore. That was the first time I was like, okay, this team's legit. Like they're a legitimate threat now.
Dude, it's going to be a tough year. I really do. Like, I'm trying to prepare myself, because it's such a long time. Like, football season's a long stretch, right? Like, there's week after week, you can kind of like, you can build, you can get momentum, you can do these things, but like, injuries pile up. I don't like talking about injuries, but like, they pile up, losses pile, games you should win and you lose, like, it starts piling up. And I just wish the Bengals would make a few more moves. Like, I'm interested to see some cuts. Like, when cut downs happen, who are they going to bring in? Like, I hope they have something up their sleeve, because I just don't feel like they've done enough. I feel like there's more out there. I'd feel really good if Evan McPherson was extended and Jamar was done. Like, I get Evan, like, he's a kicker. He's got next year. Like, we can make it happen then. But just wouldn't you feel good, like, if they're just like, hey, we got these deals done. Like, this is out of the way. Now, who can we bring in to improve? Like, it'd just be a good feeling. Like, I would love to see them just kind of go out of their way to, like, just be like, yeah, we're making this push and we're going out of our way to do it. instead of.
Well, I can tell you right now, if Jackson Carman is on that roster come starting week 1,
Dude,
I might cut it myself. Again, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. I'm not an NFL player, can't do what you do, but like I think we've got enough sample size there to understand that he's not a second round pick. And 4 penalties and 5 drives, and I watched the 5th drive, and it should have been a holding. It was a holding 9 out of 9 times, and 9 out of 10 times in an NFL game, right? Like the one time that it wasn't a holding, maybe the ref was just like, "Screw it, I don't care anymore. It's garbage time." Like that was a hold. It should have been 5 for 5, and he's not that guy. Like he's just not. So they need to free up whatever $2-3 million he's taken up, and go give it to somebody else right now.
Well, right there, that could have been Mekhi Becton. Like if it's $2 million, that's half of Mekhi Becton's salary. What's is Dalton Risner even signed? I think he got signed, but like what did he get? No, probably no more than $3 million. If he got $4 million, so what? Like you cut this dude, and there's the money. Like I don't know. Like you can't be so. It's the middle mistakes with him, and I think he had potential. Like I think it was 2 years ago against I think Buffalo. I think it was Buffalo, and he like drove this dude into the sidelines, and I was just like, okay,
Dalton
like
Risner
maybe
plays for Minnesota right now.
Yeah. So he's kind of out of the picture, but like there's dudes out there that you can get, and they're not like Ted Karras wasn't. We didn't pay him like a crazy amount of money. Alex Kappa, like it's not like these guys are getting 12, 14 million as interior linemen. Like we can get some dudes. I would just feel so much better to get a more depth because outside of Cody Ford, like I like Cody Ford. He was a guy the Bengals I remember were high on, and a lot of people were high on in whatever draft class he came out in a few years back. But like Cody Ford was, a lot of people talked about him, and I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how he plays. And Matt Lee was a 7th round draft pick, and other than being undersized, like he probably should have got drafted higher than where he was at. So like I like Matt Lee, but he's not versatile. Now you feel good about him if Ted has to miss some games or something, like you feel good there. You feel good when Mims comes back, you feel good at our tackles, but on the interior at right and left guard, do you feel good? Do you feel comfortable there? Like no, like you don't.
Alex Kappa. No, I mean, no, I don't. No, because Volson, I think we've seen what Volson can be. Maybe he'll take a step, but I think this year will kind of be the peak of whatever Cordell Volson is. And Alex Kappa,
3 years of starting.
I don't know what happened to him, man. I don't know if it was the injuries, but I can tell you one thing. He doesn't look like he wants to be there, number one. Number two, he used to be a Pro Bowl player. He came off of Tampa Bay, and he was a Pro Bowl lineman. We stole him and brought him to Cincinnati, and he looked like a promising, like, plug-and-play starter. I don't know what happened there, man, but, like, he's not it anymore. And my fear is Trent Brown's not going to work out. Amarius Mims is going to have to be plugged in, and we're going to have to play Cody Ford at guard. Alex Kappa is not the guy, and then we're going to have to play Amarius Mims at tackle. We're kind of rinsing and repeating here with what are you going to have at offensive line, right? A lot of promise, but we don't actually know. And you've got Joe Burrow, who's one season-ending injury away from being like, all right, maybe we need to reevaluate this because he is a dude. But if you get hurt every year, the best ability is availability, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to be freaking out. So, like, they need to figure it out.
Do you remember it was in our group chat, and I said oh shoot. It was hold on. Let me pull it up because it was a pretty good point that I made.
We sound like pessimists tonight. I'm so sorry to everyone who's going to listen to this. I'm excited for the season regardless. You're going to see me go freaking nuts at Paycor. I have not decided what game I'm going to go to yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's an early season game. Just say that.
I was wanting to go to the week 3 against the Commanders, but I don't think that. I know I work that next morning, so
Yeah.
that'll be an issue. Oh, so
I'm
it
just
was
sick of freezing. I'm just so sick of being a freaking ice cube at
yeah,
Paycor. Like I want to go to a warm game for once.
dude, that playoff game against Baltimore. I've never been to a game that I won to end like
Dude,
most games.
you look so rough at the end of that
Dude,
game.
I was tired. I worked that night, got off work, drove to your house, drove to the or we rode I rode with you to the game, and then like, you kind of get that extra like jolt of energy, had some drinks, had some food, everything was going good, like we are having fun. And then that sun went down, man, and it was cold and I was tired. I was just like, I'm ready, like I want to go home. I probably slept for a solid hour and a half on that ride home at least. And it felt
You
like
slept
2
the
minutes.
entire time on the ride home, dude. We didn't even get out of the Cincinnati city limits and you were asleep, bro.
Dude, I was done, man. I felt bad about it. I was like, dude, I'm sorry I left you left you hanging on it. I was like, I was done. That was a long day. And just the cold, that cold just takes it out of you too. If you're already tired and then you go out and you're freezing for hours, it ate at my soul. I remember I got home and I laid down and I took a shower. I went home, got a warm shower, went to bed, and it felt so good. Oh, I was out. My head hit that pillow, and I was done. But what I was talking about for the group chat was, could you imagine if we got Zach Frazier was there, the dude out of West Virginia? That guy he's an interior lineman. He's a beast. If we took Zach Frazier instead of Chris Jenkins, we packaged some of our later round picks and moved up and and we still got Chris Jenkins, how good would you feel right now? We'd feel a lot better. Like, I feel like that right there, we had 10 picks. Did you ever think we was getting out of the draft with 10 picks? Like,
No, and I thought
no,
honestly it was a little stupid of them not to leverage some of those, especially the extra. What do we have? An extra third rounder, an extra fifth rounder. Like you got to leverage some of those, man. Like I would have loved to have seen them leverage that third rounder to move up in the second, or
mhm,
leverage another third rounder to move up in the third round again. Like get your guys, man. Like I've
yeah,
always been a proponent of quality over quantity. I don't give a crap if you got 10 players. You're going to cut half of them anyway.
right.
Quality over quantity. Go after your guys. It proves dividends because everybody, like Detroit, we talked about Detroit earlier, right? They got so much crap for reaching for 2 different guys in the first round and trading up and doing all this. They went out and they got their guys. They were impact guys from day one, right?
Mhm.
Three rookies, impact guys from day one. Laporta, Gibbs, and what's his face, a defensive player. Oh, I forget his name. 3 guys.
Hutchinson.
No, not him, not him. That was a big guy. It was another guy.
Oh, he was the year
Uh,
before. Aiden Hutchinson was the year before
Hutchinson
that.
was the year before. I'm talking about last year. Gosh, I forget his name now. I can picture him. But anyway, that was 3 guys, right? Out of the draft, instant impact, day one, game changers for their team. And they proved all through the season to make a big difference. Some of those guys are the reason that they won the playoff games, right? So Cincinnati needs to take that up a little bit and stop worrying about quantity and start getting quality guys because the quantity ain't working. Zach Carter ain't working. Joseph Osai ain't working. Like there's too much garbage there and not enough quality. To whereas if they were to go after quality guys and get the people that they actually want and not be like, well, this guy got picked. Oh, we really wanted him, but we didn't. No, like go get your guys, go get them, and go make an impact and win a Super Bowl. Period.
Well, Zach Carter too has played out of position. Like when we got Zach Carter, I liked that pick in the third round. He had, I think it was like 8 or 10 sacks in the SEC when he played down in Florida.
Yeah, he was
Like,
great. He was great out
like
of Florida, but like,
but like I don't have a problem with that pick. But if you plan on taking him and then moving him on the inside and it's not working. Like, dude, that doesn't make sense. Like, the dude was pretty good. I get the pick, but if your plan was to move him inside, I don't I don't exactly like that. But like you're saying,
But
quality.
you don't take guys to move them around the NFL. That's what you do to guys in college. Like once they're proven in college at a position, that's what
Mhm,
they are come the
yep.
NFL. Unless it's maybe a receiver to cornerback. Like I've seen that switch over and the NFL work quite a lot. But like you don't move guys around because there's a huge weight discrepancy and a huge size and weight discrepancy compared to the successful defensive tackles versus the successful defensive ends now. Like those are two totally different body comps now that we've seen in the NFL. Look at a TJ Watt versus what's his face, Cam Hayward. Two totally
Mhm,
different guys, right?
yeah,
And that's the biggest difference between D tackle and D end.
yeah. Well, I think he was only like 290. Like, he wasn't.
Well, I
I
mean,
don't even think.
that's a big
Like,
guy, like, but
but not for an
you got to decide whether
interior.
you want to.
He
No,
might have
not
been
for an
285.
interior, but like
Like,
you can from 290 though, you can say, hey, we want you to shed down to 265 to be a defensive end, or we can
mhm,
say, hey, we want you to put on 15 pounds, 10 pounds, and become a true defensive tackle, right?
yeah, I would. I liked the Zach Carter pick. Like, that was a pick I actually like. I liked it. He didn't pan out, but I feel like he's played out of position. I think it would have been really interesting to see if they would have played him on the edge from the rip and just gave him that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have definitely liked to see the Bengals move up. Other than, you know, I do like Newton. You hit on him earlier. Like, Newton was a pick that when he was taken, I was a little mad just because the TJ Tampa. I wish they would have moved up and took him in, but that worked out, so that's cool. We got Newton. But then we get two tight ends like Eric All. Did you watch the video of him? Like, Eric All looks slow, man. Like, he looks like big and stiff, and like, hopefully he's just coming off that injury and he like really turns it on. But the dude looks rough. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, and so I think what you're trying to say, and I've seen the same thing. He doesn't have the wiggle that a lot of these successful tight ends have in the NFL. Like he's just kind of straight bodied, stiff hips.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe, though, and not to be off topic, but I still believe coming out of this draft, the three guys that are going to make the most impact are going to be Jenkins, Burton, and Newton. The rest, I think we're going to forget about. Maybe McKinley Jackson, but I think for the most part, I think we're like Eric All, in my opinion, is going to be a Cam or a Drew Sample like guy, like
Mm-hmm.
forever. I don't see him as a Laporta, Kincaid, Kelsey. Like I don't see him as a starting guy, at least not right now. And I could be totally wrong, right? I'm not an NFL scout, but I think there's going to be three names out of this draft that are actually true impact guys. So
Yeah, I think I think you pretty much hit it. I think Chris Jenkins. Uh, I'm excited to see him this week. I think Saturday is going to be nice. McKinley Jackson would have been really nice to see if he wasn't hurt. Like, uh, I would have liked to see him. I liked him. If the Bengals didn't take him in the third, I would have liked him a lot more as like a fourth round guy. That's where a lot of people had him projected.
he was a fourth or fifth round guy. They reached because they want depth. That's all it was.
Yeah, and that goes back. Package that third round pick, move up. You can package that third, and I think we had a 6th-round pick where we took the tight end McLaurin, and did we have 2-6? I'm trying to think.
I think we had 2-6. We had 2/3, 2/6. But dude, what if you just package that third and say, hey, you know what? We don't need an extra guy there. Go get a proven guy. What's his face from the Niners that just got signed elsewhere? I forget his name. The big defensive lineman though. Like he was there for the taking. He would have been
Armstead?
a little bit more Yeah, Eric Armstead, right?
Yeah.
Like a dude out of Oregon. He's a proven guy. Like he's not a true top 10 guy, but he's a starter, right?
Yeah.
Give up your third, go after him, and then maybe even sprinkle in a little Chase Young there that's going for peanuts right now for the Saints, right? Like there's guys out there. Why would you risk it with a reach in the third round when you can just take that third rounder and sign a guy that you know can play? Like he played in the Super Bowl, he played good until he got hurt, but like all season he played really well.
Dude, Yeah, like give me Armstead, and like there's so much you can do, and I feel like I don't know if the Bengals are just being stubborn. Like we don't know what's going on behind those doors, but we know they value their picks. Like Duke Toblin loves his picks, his draft picks, but it's like, dude, if you can get proven players, take them proven players, and let's go. Like let's rock. We have a great team. Like Jamar, Joe, T. I think Chase Brown is going to bowl out this year. Mike Gesicki is like I
Yep.
like Mike Gesicki with Joe. Like that's going to be good. Orlando Brown Jr., uh, Trent Brown, and then interior. Like really, you would think other than Cordell Wilson, like the line looked pretty good. Now Kappa's giving us questions, and then you have Matt Lee, who knows what Matt Lee could develop. He could like he's a good center. So like maybe there's a little development that happens there. Like the guy is a stud. I feel pretty good. That's the 7th round pick. Like I I think starting, I feel good about our starting team. So what do you need to do? You need to fill them holes in the draft with guys that you feel really good about possibly being spot starters. So
Yep.
really, other than McKinley Jackson, and like I feel like that pick we could have really leveraged into something. Like I like the Chris Jenkins pick a lot, but could you imagine having a Frazier to compete on that interior O line and moved up with that 3rd round pick and then maybe a 6th round pick or an Armstead or some? There's a lot of options you could do. That would have been, I would feel really good just with Zach Frazier. Like I would have loved to had moved up with that 3rd and possibly a 5th to get like your guy. Or remember Braden Fisk? I like Braden Fisk out of Florida a lot. Could you imagine moving up and just saying, nope, we're going to get Braden Fisk and we're going to get that Chris Jenkins as well, and we're just going to solidify this interior role on the defense. And
We talked about Jared Verse too. Same thing.
Jared Verse fell. Like, and Jared Verse was probably a top 15 pick. Like, dude, move up and get the dudes you want. Now the season hasn't started. Every team has their problems. Like we're kind of complaining in a little bit, and I think it could just be nerves. The season's about to start. There's Jamar sitting out. There's some things to be nervous about, but I just don't want the season to end. The Bengals maybe, let's just say they get to the playoffs. They don't make it. They don't get, the number 1 seed. They don't get a home playoff game. They make it to the playoffs. And then they lose week 1 because their interior pass rush is horrible. Their D-line's not there, and we're getting ran all over.
Yeah.
And our depth's not good. We're going to look back and think, man, there's a lot of things that this team could have done and they should have done. Now, they could make it to the Super Bowl, and we all would think, well, that was awesome. That was great. You know what I mean? They won the Super Bowl.
We're going to say the exact opposite. Yeah, it's going to be like right now we're worried about it because of the nerves. We just want it all to be tied together with a nice, pretty bow on top and get a Super Bowl, right? But like we're all going to forget about it if they start winning ball games and make the playoffs and start making some noise. So it's like that every year. And again, just to kind of like wrap up this show a little bit, I don't want to sound pessimistic. Like naturally, I'm a little bit because I like to pick apart the mistakes that these guys make. But like, I'm not an NFL scout. I'm not an NFL GM. Like, I'm not a coach. Like, I can't really see what's going on behind closed doors that like you mentioned earlier. But I think all things considered, they could be in a much better spot than they are right now, and they've got a lot of work to do because if they don't do anything this season, next offseason is going to be real tough. So
yeah, I'm excited when cut downs happen, and before week 1, that 2 weeks before week 1 happens is going to be exciting time. And if the Bengals don't make some moves at that point, I'm going to be a little upset. Like if they don't move on from Jackson Carman or package some sort of deal with him, then
no one wants him, so it's gonna be a cut.
More than likely it would be. It'd be super cool if he came out this week and put some really good tape out this week and next week, and people are like, oh, that makes sense. Like,
I still wouldn't trust him. I still wouldn't trust him because then he's just trying to get a roster spot or he's trying to get on another team. Like, I don't trust him. So
no, I don't. I'm just saying it'd be cool if it happened. The Bengals could get something in return other than a cut, but more than likely that won't happen. But we still have final cuts. There's going to be players that are going to be pulled out, and like we said, there's a lot of talent on this roster. So if you're listening to this, we're not always so negative. I think just coming into the season, we're a little anxious, a little nervous, and we know what this team could be, and we want that bowl, man. I was born in February of 91, so I didn't even see their first playoff win until 2021. That was, that was a long time. Like, I missed it by a month, and maybe I was the curse or something, but didn't see a playoff win my entire life till I was 31 years old. So
we're gonna hang that on you, man. You were the curse for 31 years.
I was like the Bo Jackson curse, man. It's over though. Dude. It's done. All right. Any closing thoughts, Tony?
Look forward to more shows here soon from us. Obviously, some reactions coming from the next preseason game. What, Friday or Saturday?
Saturday. Yep.
Saturday.
Or is it tomorrow?
We'll look forward to more reactions.
I don't know. I gotta look. Maybe it is Friday.
Tomorrow's Thursday. Hold on. Before
1 second. Yeah, I feel like maybe it is Friday. You got me feeling weird.
Gosh, I hope it's Friday. That'd be awesome. It's Thursday. Tomorrow. No. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. Saturday. The week 3 is Thursday at 8:00 on Prime. Week 2 versus the Bears is 1:00 on Saturday afternoon. So,
okay, 1:00 against the Bears, and that will be some Hard Knocks. I'm sure they'll be talking about the Bengals on Hard Knocks, so that would be something to look into with the Bears if you're a Hard Knocks kind of person.
Hey, my guy Logan Woodside's going to start, so
dude,
looking forward to that.
Woodside, dude, he had some nice balls the other day, bro. He was,
dude. Did you see him jawing?
Like
he jawing like he talks some stuff.
Oh, jawing.
No. Like he talks trash, like jawing. JAWWING. Like he talks trash, bro.
Dude, I like that. I like it. I like Logan Woodside, man. He
might not make the roster, but like if he does, man, I'm so happy. Like,
dude, he'll make the practice squad unless somebody else signs him, but
yeah.
I think he'll be there. I like him a lot. And especially with Jake Browning with his rib, like they might put him on injured reserve. I don't know how long they're looking him to be out, but I'm excited to see that backup quarterback spot because I like Logan Woodside.
Oh yeah. We'll look forward to it. More shows to come, and then hopefully we'll get our pal Chris back here soon. So,
yes, sir. All righty. Well, I figure it'd be nice. Maybe get one more show in before the preseason game. If not, it'll be after. But I know we'll be picking it up between the three of us. We might not all three be on, but we're gonna definitely start getting shows out a little more now that season's coming around and being more consistent. I know we talked about it a lot before about our consistency and stuff, but like it'll happen. Year 2, it's going to come along. We'll be more consistent, and we appreciate everybody that listens to us. It's more of a selfish thing for us because I think we just do it. We do it mostly for fun, but if we had 10 million people who listened to us and loved what we had to say, that'd be pretty cool. I don't think any of us would complain about it.
If I had 10 million people listening to me, number one, I'm not talented enough for that. But number two, I could quit my job and just talk about Bengals and complain about all the things that they don't do full time. So that would be a win-win.
Dude, it'd be such a stress reliever. I'd love it.
I could sit here and drink beer with you on a Tuesday night and just talk about how all the things the Bengals are doing wrong. It'd be great.
Dude, it would be. That's the dream. So yeah, make sure you follow us. Follow us. Make our dreams come true.
That's my new motto. Make my dreams come true.
All right, Tony. I'll see you later, buddy. Everybody, we appreciate you. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll have some more stuff come out.